Awesome. Here we go. Okay, let me just refresh.
Oh,
I
another
think
fancy.
we are live. Did you see? Yep, we are.
Are you live in the group, Ace?
Yep, we are live on, this is the hot seat. We're live, guys, here on our timeline. Thank you so much for your patience. We have our guests here. They're okay, we're okay. And we're gonna kick this thing off. So whoever is here, say hello and where you're actually watching us live from. And if you'd like to share this with your group, share this all over. Absolutely, today's the day to do that. Definitely, because we got two special guests and we're gonna kick this thing off, man. We're gonna have a party here. Absolutely, so don't miss this. All right, and I'm gonna share it to our group, the Internet Marketing Pros. We're gonna make sure we go in there. There it is, right in the group. Perfect. All right, awesome. So who do we have that is here? We have our special guest, Gregg Davison, my coach, Gregg Davison. Yay! And who do I have here on my other half? My student, Brandy. That's right. Brandy is here and she's actually here. Usually we're on Skype or Zoom, but she's actually here.
Here.
Here. That's right. And what you're in for today is we're going to do a kind of a different spin with the hot seat, guys. And what we're doing is usually I have my co-host Rich Guzman, but we have to make room for Gregg because Gregg's going to do something extra special. And if y'all don't know who Gregg is, well, he's going to tell you a little bit about his experience in the industry and what he has done. You know, how he actually has been coaching and helping people grow themselves, transfer their mind, help them be more productive and grow their businesses. And, you know, Gregg has had a track record of success and he's going to tell you all about it. And then as a live demonstration, we have Brandy as a case study and she has no idea what's gonna happen. She's just here, but she's like, Gregg's like, bring her on. I want to talk to her. Okay, we have Brandy here that is going to be our case study so that Gregg can actually coach her right here on the spot. And you're going to get a hint of what's to come because stay tuned for a special announcement. We actually have a live event that's going to be coming up that is a special invite only that we have our guest here, Gregg Davison, is going to be doing as a special training. You don't want to miss that. And we'll give you the details as long as you guys hang on. So without further ado, let's get started. Gregg, how you doing, bud?
I said, Ace, absolutely outstanding as always. Thank you so much for having me on as a special trainer on your Friday night hot seat, even though it's not Friday night where you are. But man, this show's been going on for like forever, hasn't it?
It has about 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've been a guest, so I'm absolutely privileged. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. So tell everybody
So
a little bit about your background. Yeah, about your experience with the online industry, you know, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, indeed. I'm trying to find my story because I'm going to be doing some story training hopefully with Brandy today.
Awesome.
And there we go. No, hang on. Where is it? In the wrong part.
I'm going to share this in the inner circle as well.
Just bear with me.
Let's pack this house, guys. Yes, here they come.
There we go. So I started my business because way back in 2003, I had a great corporate job, but I hated working with somebody else. And I felt really trapped in supposed to be 9 to 5, but it was more like 9 to 7 plus weekends. And I was climbing the corporate ladder, but I realized that I was just making my bosses richer and richer. They were the ones with the flash cars and the yacht and the fancy holidays. It was in Australia when I first decided to become an entrepreneur. So anyway, I joined this network marketing company. I saw the plan, like 3 gets 3 gets 3 gets 3, then you're a millionaire. And I'm like, sign me up, I'll have some of that. So I gave away the 80,000 a year job. Thought I was gonna have success like a skyrocket to the moon, but 6 months later, I was absolutely broke. Had to go back and live with my mom. And so all of my friends and family were like, you gave up this like $80,000 a year job, and then 6 months later, you're back living with your mom. Come on, Greg. Like, was that such a smart move? And I was like, you wait and see. I will make this work.
Yes.
But in MLM, network marketing, for 4 years. Eventually, I did have success. It was not really life-changing, but some of the lessons that I learned there were life-changing. I was privileged to kind of coach and mentor with Jim Rohn, who was actually Herbalife's personal development guy, business guru. So I got to have lunch with Jim and private trainings with Jim, and it was, that in itself was worth the 4 years of hardship and being broke. It really was.
Wow.
Then, you know, network marketing was, it didn't really live up to the expectations. And I found myself working 70-hour weeks for like half the money that I used to earn in my corporate life. And I remember seeing a video online about this guy that had just made $50,000 in a month with this high ticket online programs. So I chose to believe that. But the problem was I was now $70,000 in debt. And it all came to a head when it was literally one day I genuinely thought I was having a heart attack, because we had so many bills, like my bills had bills. And I remember like lying on my bed, clutching my chest. I said to my mom, I think you need to phone the ambulance. Luckily, it was just a panic attack.
Oh, wow.
But I was so stressed out from the severity of just the poverty and the debt and everything else. And we had like 30 days to actually raise some money, or they were coming for my mom's furniture because she was like a co-signer. So I scrambled around on the internet and I looked at all these high ticket programs, decided to join one. I put the $2,000 on my girlfriend's credit card at the time. She was kind enough to loan me $2,000. I mean, I was like if I don't succeed at this thing, like that's it, I'm bankrupt, I'm gone, right? Wow. Fortunately, the universe was looking out for me, because it connected me with a multiple seven-figure mentor, Aaron Parkinson. So I'm eternally grateful for that.
I know that name.
And a short story is, he said, look, I can see you're hungry, you're hardworking, just you've been following the wrong plan. Now, if I show you the right plan, you're going to be coachable. And are you willing to give up every belief that you hold true when it comes to entrepreneurship and making money? I said, yeah, I'm an empty cup. Just show me what to do. Right. He did. I made $10,615 in 30 days. My first 30 days. I made then just over 100,000 in my first 6 months. I said goodbye to my mom in Northern England, packed a bag, went to this little place called the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean. Yeah. Know anything about this place? And then 4 months later, I was sitting on stage at a training in Tahoe. And Aaron, it was great because my mentor said, how much money did you make last month? I said 101,000 something and change. And he said, you want to share some tips on how you did that? So I found myself 10 months after being like almost having a heart attack, being $70,000 in debt, broke. Wow. To now making $100,000 a month. And then within 22 months, I cracked my first $1 million. I've done multiple seven figures, spent it all, then made it all back, and then spent it all again. But as well as that, I've also had the—
He's being honest, right?
One of the greatest things is with that company, I built a huge team. I had some amazing success stories myself. I've dozens and dozens of testimonials of people whose lives have changed. And I kind of moved away from affiliate marketing more into coaching, copywriting, and creating courses over the last 2 years, which is what I've done. Ace and Rich are two of my students. I'm proud to say that Ace is now the copywriting queen because I showed her some stuff on how to write emails, and I didn't really. I just showed her how to learn it properly. That's all.
Yes.
And had to kind of punch her through the screen as hard as I could, because she would say to me, what is it? What did you say? I can't write emails. This copywriting stuff is just garbage. I don't get it. Something like that, right?
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. And so here I am tonight. That's my story. So that's the professional side of Gregg Davison. On the personal side, I am competing in my first bodybuilding show next year at the young age of, I'll be either 49 next year or 50 if I do it the year later. So I'm a bit of a gym rat. I spend absolutely too much time there. I like scuba diving. So I am looking forward to going back across to either the Cayman Islands or Costa Rica, probably next year, to live again, so I can go play with the sharks.
So it is true what Rich told me as far as a story, that you came on stage at a live event with your scuba gear.
And a plastic shark, I did, yeah.
Love it. It's awesome.
It's funny because the training that I did, which was just like a 20-minute thing or 30 minutes, the training I did then was how to brand yourself and stand from the crowd, which is going to be going through with brand.
Oh, he's cutting in and out. It's his connection. Greg. Guys, stand by. We have a little technical difficulty here.
Hold on, let me kill everything else to make sure it's not my my bandwidth.
Okay.
How's it sounding now?
It sounds good now.
We're okay? All right.
Yes,
Just shout repeat if I've got to repeat myself, okay?
will do.
Where was I? Yeah, so bodybuilding, scuba diving. Aside from that, you might see me at a dance festival somewhere around the world wearing
No. He's gonna show it.
Yeah, I gotta do this. Hold on.
See, this is authenticity.
I want to show you my festival outfit. These are really good.
Okay.
And I'm just,
You guys are loving this.
do
Give me
this.
some hearts and some likes and some shares, guys. Definitely loving the hot seat today.
no, that's you. Put you over there. I get you. I'm just moving screens around. Okay, let's share. Oops. Up. And got it. Share the screen. Oh, you've disabled participant screen sharing.
ahead.
Can you
Refresh and do it. You can do it. I just gave you rights.
Okay. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite festival outfit.
I was not kidding. Oh my God, and I was talking to you.
That's the best thing I've ever seen.
That is so
You
awesome.
like it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Look at you.
I want to go to these festivals.
Take him with you.
Yeah, we need to go together. That is fantastic.
Wow, Greg.
So there's the funniest story behind this, and I'll share that real quick. There's an island in the Mediterranean. It's pretty famous, called Ibiza. You Americans call it Ibiza, even though that's not how it's pronounced.
Right,
Ibiza.
yeah.
Ibiza. And it's an island where, like, from May until October for 6 months, there's just non-stop parties, and every like dance music genre, and there's these huge nightclubs with 10,000 people, and then there's like raves up in the fields. The whole island is just a crazy party place. It has a beautiful spiritual side, but it's just a playground for adult children. And I lived there in 2010. Thanks to internet marketing, I literally went and lived in my favorite place in the world for 6 months just because I could.
Well, yeah.
And this one day, and I'm being transparent, I'm hammered drunk out of my mind, right? And I'm in this shop called Zodico that sells neon tutus and like circus outfits and all kinds of crazy clothes. And I said to the lady working behind this lady's got tattoos and nose rings, and she looks like she's from outer space. And I said, that's the cutest, funniest outfit I've ever seen. She said, you'd look good in that. I went, are you serious? And she says, you should try it on.
Oh dear.
I mean, I'm sure she must have been psychic, thinking like, he's got a cuckoo side and I'm going to find it, right? So I like drunk, and I try this outfit on. I'm looking in the mirror and I think, man, that looks really good. And so I thought,
He's like loving it, right? Looking in the mirror.
like I bought it, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I went and wore this to, there's this club called Amnesia. It's like one of the most famous nightclubs in the world.
Oh yeah.
Right? Wouldn't it be funny if I wore this to Cream at Amnesia tonight? So I go out in this outfit, and I had the funniest time. And ever since that, I've never went to a festival in men's clothing.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
So if you go on my Facebook profile and you look through the photos, there are lots of photos of me in like red Indian outfits and bikinis and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's a little bit of my my personal life.
That's
my
his
crazy
personal
side.
life. He's living it and loving life. He's a party man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to where we are right now. So yeah, today what I really want to, I mean, I'll let you guys kind of lead, if you will, because I guess the most important thing is two important things we want to accomplish here. I want to make sure Brandy gets some great coaching, and leaves this session with some kind of plan or some paradigm shifts where she can have a vision for the direction of her business and some super important things that are going to make the difference when it comes to you getting results and having success. And I want to also make sure that everybody watching this and the replay gets a lot of value too. So how does that sound, Brandy?
Sounds awesome.
Cool.
Are you gonna put on your outfit? Distracting.
Good one.
True story. Actually, my ex has half my outfit, like 400 miles away.
Oh.
We're not arguing over custody of the skirt or anything silly like that. It's in a bag somewhere in her loft. That's all. But I tell you what I'll do just for you, Brandy. I will wear.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on. Let me see if I can find it.
This is awesome. Oh my gosh.
He is awesome.
He is really awesome.
He's breaking the house down.
You guys better be sharing this. I'm telling you, put it on your timelines. People need to see this. Give them an awesome Friday to enjoy this.
Share this to mine.
You want to
coming back there with me? Hold on.
This, and it goes to a friend's timeline, and there you are. So it goes right there on your timeline.
Just like that.
Just like that.
You're so smart.
I'm teaching you.
You are. A wealth of knowledge.
He's digging. You know it's got to be good.
It's
He's
gonna
like,
be. Oh, I know it's gonna be good.
This is awesome. It's like, what is he getting?
I'm super intrigued. I'm super intrigued.
But this is good to see a leader be authentic and be that transparent part of that.
Be himself.
Yeah, he's like himself. He's like, yeah, I wear a skirt. I wear a bra.
Yeah. Who doesn't? Come on.
That's what he likes to do. I mean, we get involved in this
Right,
business.
here we
because
go.
have fun.
So I will start with, at least we got to have a tiara, right?
Yes. It's pink, Ace. He did
It
that
is
for
pink.
you. That
Yes,
was for
it's
you.
pink. Yes.
Oh,
Is that like too much? Like that's going to distract people, right?
it's just enough.
It's just enough.
People just be sitting there laughing.
He has a bag.
We want to make it semi-serious. Yeah, we'll go with. We'll kick with
Semi-serious.
just a cute tiara. Okay.
Okay, that's
All
good.
right.
That's good.
I'll
Yeah.
take it.
We can do that.
Right.
I left mine at home.
Yeah.
You don't have to dress up, Brandy. It's okay. All right. So I tell you what, Brandy. Firstly, it is wonderful to make your acquaintance, to meet you. I had a look at a friend requested you on Facebook, but it seems like you haven't had a chance to accept that. Or now you're probably thinking, shit, no way, I'm not accepting you, crazy man.
I missed that somewhere, obviously.
No, that's okay. I have seen your Facebook profile, but that's the only content that I've been able to see so far. So
One.
why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? I can either ask you questions or you can just go with your story. What you want to do?
Go ahead and ask me.
Ask you questions?
Yeah, go ahead and ask me questions.
Cool. So who is Brandy Madeira? First question, what do you love to do for fun?
I love to throw music on as loud as I can and dance. Usually while I'm cooking.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
I
like
get the
that.
kids involved. I had Tristan dancing last night to the bachata with me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you like? Any kind of music? Do you have a favorite?
I don't have a favorite per se. I think I like everything.
Yeah.
But I do typically like to put on some kind of Latin music because it's just better.
Latin music.
Latin is usually what I put on.
Awesome. All right. So that's your happy place, huh?
It is.
And you mentioned kids. How many kids you have?
I have 3 children. My oldest is a
How
boy.
old?
My oldest is a boy. He's 12. He'll be 13 in January. And my girls just turned 8 and 11 in July.
Girls 8 and 11.
Mhm.
So you got those teenage years coming up, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're starting.
Cool. Sure you've done many things, but for the most part, what was your vocation or profession? What's your background?
My background is I was a medic with the Air Force. And from there, I stayed in the medical field. I was a phlebotomist for about 18 years.
A lobotomist?
No, not the same. A phlebotomist. I draw blood.
A
Well,
phlebotomist.
A phlebotomist. My last
gonna say,
year in the medical field, I did some send out reference tech kind of stuff, but
I have no idea what phlebotomy involves.
it's drawing your blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we usually call them in New Jersey the vampire ladies. They just
Yeah.
come and they draw blood.
Vampire ladies.
It was funny because for a couple of years I was bartending after work. I would do phlebotomy and then I would go and I would bartend, and they would always joke with me, that I was
A bloodsucker.
a blood thinner. You know what I mean? Because I would take blood during the day and then I would thin everybody's blood with the alcohol at night. That was the joke for many years. Yeah.
All right, cool. And how long were you how long were you medic for?
I was a medic with the Air Force for 4 years. And then when I went back to the civilian side of things, it was just too much. Your scope of practice in the civilian side was different from your scope of practice in the military. There was a lot more I could do. I was more of a paramedic with military So I didn't really want to cross lines, and
Gotcha.
I fell in love with phlebotomy. So
Okay, cool. How long have you been in online marketing?
barely a year, not even.
Okay, we'll call it a year, just for argument's sake. And what was the reason that you got into online marketing?
Originally, I wanted to find a way to stay home with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I had had a stroke and I was struggling after my divorce. And I wanted to make a lot of money and do it while spending time with my kids. That was the original goal.
Okay, so you wanted to stay home with kids. That's the main driver, or was the main driver.
Mm-hmm.
You say that was the original goal.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still your primary goal? Like, if there's one major benefit to having an online business, it's to actually be around your kids.
I would say that's still the biggest.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
Plus
others,
for
but
me,
if there's one thing where somebody say, "What do you love most about working online?" It's like, okay, I get to be at home with my kids.
I'm
right?
there for my kids. I'm there for dinner. I'm there for bedtime, all that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's the main goal. Tell me, give me one other next important goal.
To grow as a person.
I'm going to discard that, not because it's for the simple reason that growth is actually one of the 6 human needs. It's just fundamentally like, without turning this into a Tony Robbins training, but a lot of people say, yeah, I love growing. We all love growing as humans. It's kind of one of the things that we have to do. What would be another, if I was to say to you, what else do you love about having your own online business? And I can ask this question from a future tense perspective as well. Imagine 3 years down the line, where do you want to be, either maybe financially or things you've accomplished with your business, or if I was to say, as well as being home with your kids, what's the next best thing about online marketing that you love?
Freedom to not say no.
A little louder.
Freedom to not say no to the things that my kids want, to the things that I want, to the experiences I'd like to share with them.
Yeah, I do. I am William Wallace. Freedom. I'm actually a descendant of William Wallace.
You're too much.
You can't take me seriously nowadays, can you, with a tiara on?
Man,
I
Can't you see
but
the
it's-
royalty?
It's there. and
I'm
it's-
so used to seeing him without this stuff, but just seeing him here.
No,
is
I
just-
like it. I
It's
like it.
awesome.
Okay, I can take it off and be all serious if you want me to.
Oh no, leave it
No,
on,
no,
leave it
be
on.
yourself, man. Be
All right, cool.
yourself.
So, medic, and then you wanted to stay home with your kids, so you started your online business, and the other driver is freedom to have control of your own destiny and do what you want, right?
Essentially, yes.
Got it. Cool. You mentioned having a stroke. I know either Ace or Rich told me that that's a big part of your, I guess, your story, and not your identity, but yeah, definitely your story. So tell me a little bit about that, Brandy, if you can.
It was probably almost 4 years ago now. And when I had the stroke, I had to kind of relearn several things. I had a walker for a few months. And even now I have a lot of trouble with recalling things. My memory isn't the greatest. So it set me back for a few years,
Yep.
I went through a period of time where there were migraines. I had a hard time getting out of bed. I couldn't be the mom that I wanted to be, let alone the person I wanted to be. So it was a tough time.
And you talk in past tense, so it sounds like now it's fully healed, or most of the way in terms of those limitations.
For the most part, yeah. They originally had thought it was due to a car accident. I had a tear in my artery. And last year they determined that it was actually a tumor that I had that was causing my blood pressure to be extremely high. So they had to actually do surgery and remove the tumor. And then once that tumor was gone, a lot of my symptoms and problems subsided.
Mm, mm.
All right, awesome. Ace, can I see comments just in case there are comments coming through?
Comments, I would say if you go to our profile and you can open up a side window, you could see it because they're not here in the Zoom with us.
They're not
on
in the
our
Zoom, they're
profile.
just online. Okay.
Online, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, do me a favor because you are, I guess.
I have it. I have the chat.
Yeah. So I can stay focused on helping Brandy here. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Let me get
All right, awesome, Brandy. So you had the stroke. What did you say? 3 years ago?
In December, it will be 4 years.
Wow.
Okay, 4 years. Initially, there were learning difficulties and kind of physical challenges that you had to recalibrate everything, and
My equilibrium is still a bit off. Like I have a hard time. Sometimes if I'm going down the stairs, I have to kind of catch myself because the part of my brain that was affected was the majority of my balance. So
okay, cool. Let's talk about you online. How long have you been working with Ace and Rich?
not long enough.
Of course.
Probably about what, 4 months now?
Yeah.
About that.
Just about, yeah.
And how was your experience before that?
Not so great. A lot of confusion. And I think before I reached out to Ace and Rich, I was pretty much just going to call it a day and go back to the lab. So.
Okay.
That's right.
And in terms of where your business is at right now, and Ace, feel free to chime in as well here if you want to. So all I've seen is a Facebook profile. Like, where are you in your plan, so to speak? Like, have you created content yet?
No, it's all still in motion. It's one of the reasons why I decided to do the in-person, because with the struggles that I have with my memory, I wasn't able to be in a group of people and really focus and learn. I wanted to be able to really have that one-on-one. So this is what, my third official session, I think, in person.
Yes.
So I'm now just coming up with a plan to put in action.
Yes.
Okay,
Still
cool.
in the beginning stages.
I'm a baby.
Gotcha.
A baby entrepreneur.
Have you heard of a guy called Jim Quick?
No.
No. All right. Tell you a quick story. Jim Quick is acclaimed as the world's leading expert on learning. I'm just going to change this page here. Yeah, the world's leading expert on learning. Jim has so he actually goes into companies and he helps both organizations and individuals, everybody from just corporate executives up to some of the best entrepreneurs and billionaires in the world. And he helps them to accelerate their learning ability. But Jim's story is great, somewhat similar to yours, in that he has Limitless, which is actually one of my favorite books, because Jim teaches you how to learn. And it sounds like something that you could really benefit from a lot. The actual science of learning itself. Things like spaced repetition versus large doses, kind of formulas and strategies to the learning process, rules to the learning process. And honestly, it has absolutely changed my life. Like, there are things I won't do. Like, I won't listen to podcasts or anything when I'm walking now. Not strictly true. I'll only listen to a podcast to hear if I like stuff, and then when I get back home, I listen to it again. But there's a science to learning. Anyway, the story I want to tell you is get the book. It's life-changing. But when Jim was, I'm going to say, I think it was when he was in either school or college, there was a commotion outside the classroom, and he climbed up onto the, I think the radiator to look out of the window. And somehow either the radiator came or it was a chair he was standing on, all the commotion, he fell backwards and had a really, really bad brain injury.
Wow.
And then so he went back to school, or I'm pretty sure it was school, and he couldn't learn anything. He literally couldn't process the information. And he was quite a smart kid. And anyway, Jim had a period of about, it was close to 5 years where he had to kind of double down on the time he spent learning subjects versus other kids just to even keep up. He couldn't keep up. And I know in the US, when you don't pass your grade, they keep you in the lower grade. I don't know if
They
that's
set you back. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jim was kind of like stuck in his low grades like for a long time and couldn't learn.
Terrible.
And I can't remember the pivotal point in the story that changed for him, but something changed. And it was probably a combination of an event and his just desire to get better. And then I think it was because Jim was forced to, break down the learning process to figure out, why does my brain not work properly? Like, my brain, my memory's no good. Why is that? What do I need to do to remember these things? So he started playing games with himself, like creating mnemonics to try and remember things, and using stories to remember facts.
Mm-hmm.
And he teaches this great exercise in the book where you can literally remember. He gives you like 20 words and you create a story. And so I don't want to digress away, but so Jim was forced to get better. He was forced into the science of learning because he couldn't learn because he had this brain injury. And that was essentially the obstacle that became his, I guess, his superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And then he used those strategies to then accelerate his own learning. And he got so good at learning, now he's the world's leading expert in learning and teaches other people how to learn. And it all started with a brain injury.
It's an amazing story.
Right?
Limitless. That's the name of the book.
Get the book
That's a
Limitless.
perfect title too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And so I wanted to share that with you. So yeah, you could read that, but also to help you understand that sometimes your greatest tests become your greatest triumphs. Like I wouldn't have my success if I wasn't $70,000 in debt. And essentially my story became the inspiration for all those other people to join my team, spend money with me, buy my products. It helped me to create the brand that I created. Like without going through the nightmare and the hardship, I wouldn't have a story and I would just be like everybody else. So
right.
Your story can become your greatest asset.
Love that. Love that. Somebody put that in the chat who's watching the hot seat. That is so powerful. Your story can become your greatest asset. Yes, absolutely true.
And don't worry about writing stuff down. I really want you to pay attention because you can just watch the video anyway.
Oh yeah, we're recording this for you.
Yeah, so your story can definitely become absolutely your greatest asset. And this is really where I want to take this call. My focus these days is on brand messaging and positioning, because I'm gonna fly. I want to join the party. It's my tiara.
Yeah.
So with internet marketing, with affiliate marketing, this kind of business that you're in, the biggest reason why people are failing today, well, the biggest reason is people are just treating this like a hobby rather than a business. That's number one. That's always been the case ever since, like, I don't know, ever since like Ugg the caveman first started trading stones with his cousin caveman. It's about work ethic and actually treating your business like a business. But I know that you've invested heavily in coaching with these guys. So clearly you've already separated yourself from the crowd as somebody who's prepared to invest and prepared to take it seriously, right? Mm-hmm. That's always number one. People treat their business like a hobby, so it pays them like a hobby, which is nothing.
True.
Okay?
Yes.
Valid point.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Very valid.
Second biggest reason why marketers cannot get any traction, they cannot get any attention, is because even though they're working, they have not identified themselves as a brand. They haven't defined their message to market.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't positioned themselves as an authority or with the right level of credibility, uniqueness. And interestingly, a lot of marketers are not even aware of it. They don't even think they're a brand. Well, I've got news for you guys watching this. Everybody's a brand, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
It's just in most cases, your brand stands for nothing.
Right.
You don't stand for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care who you serve. You try and serve everybody, and you sound like everybody else.
Mm. So true. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to help you break through that noise today, Brandy. How about that?
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound condescending when I say it's dead simple. It's simple when you know how,
Mm-hmm.
but it's such a simple exercise that if people actually took the time to do it, they would be astonished at the fact that everybody has something unique they can offer the marketplace. Everybody has a target market they can actually serve. And so again, this is one of the biggest things that internet marketers don't get. Whether you're an affiliate marketer, a network marketer, a coach, expert, it doesn't matter. You have to understand that you are a brand. People don't buy products. I know you've done some weight loss stuff before, that kind of thing, Brandy?
Yeah, something kind of like that.
Yeah.
More of a health thing.
Yeah, whatever. People don't buy products. They don't buy opportunities. They don't buy systems. What do people buy? Ace?
People.
People. People buy people. And you got to become the kind of people that people want to buy.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Right on.
So yeah, brand, message, positioning. And if you lead with this, everything else in your business becomes easier. Not easy, but easier. Like if you have a clear message about what your values are, mm-hmm. how you want to serve your target market, authentic stuff, like this is what I'm doing right now, right? Like people will watch this video and this is creating rapport with people. The crazy festival outfit is creating rapport with people. I like to tell funny, embarrassing, vulnerability, horror stories on my videos and programs and stuff like that. Because it creates rapport. So where do we start with all this stuff? Well, I think you've got a great story there, and that's the first place that I want to go. So before I get into this, I do have an announcement for everybody watching, and yourself, of course, Brandy, that, and I'll get the dates right for you this time, Ace. So starting next Saturday, which is going to be the 11th, I will be doing a 100% free 3-part boot camp workshop on how to identify your personal brand, how to get clear on that, how to create messaging that stands out from the crowd, how to create your unique, and that's spelled Y-O-U, unique selling proposition.
Love it.
Right?
Yes.
And so there's a 3-part workshop really breaking down that with, I'm going to give everybody scripts they can use in their videos, some homework stuff to do, so that you'll come away from that 3-part training with a brand, knowing who you are, who you want to serve, how to sound different. And honestly, whether you've been in business for 3 weeks or 3 years, this is something that you really need to do properly.
Wow.
I have a great mentor. I say mentor, is a guy who I a program off and I follow, called Brandon Lucero, and you should write that name down if you're watching this. Brandon Lucero. Brandon has a podcast called The New Generation Entrepreneur, and I listen to every episode. He is, I consider he's the internet's leading expert on branding and messaging. And the podcast is phenomenal because he goes through little scripts and stuff, and like how, and Brandon says that everybody online, like 95% of people, they sound like everybody else because they're working hard, but unfortunately they're in the content circle of death. What is the content circle of death? It's how-to videos, it's tutorial videos, it's how to solve XYZ problem. Now, they definitely have a place in your business as an expert, but unfortunately, like it's what 90% of people are doing. That's the only thing they do. And if you become the person who, to exemplify in our industry, if all of your videos are just like, here's whoever account.
You're freezing up, Greg.
Oh, I'm breaking up. Okay. How does that sound now, Ace?
Better.
Okay. The content circle of death is educational content, how to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's all you do, then your marketplace just perceives you as like tech support or the guy who can help.
Agreed. Yes.
They don't want a guy who can help. They want somebody who can lead.
Yes. Yes.
So it's when you start to, and this is what I learned from Brian, it's when you start to do things like thought leadership videos. I'll tell you who's great at thought leadership content, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah, Gary.
Tell you who else, Simon Sinek.
Mm.
Now, Gary and Simon, they have never done a how-to video in their fucking life, right? They don't teach you how to go from like A to Z in 5 simple steps, none of that shit.
No.
But what they do is they change beliefs, they shift paradigms.
Yeah.
Do you know what a paradigm is, Brandy?
Mm-mm.
I don't want to assume anything. So a paradigm is a belief. It's like the way that you see the world. Like the sky is blue is a paradigm. Do you know what color the sky actually is?
No.
Ace, any idea?
No, I know why it's blue, but no, I don't really know.
It's not
the
actually
color.
blue. The sky is violet. It's purple.
Violet.
The reason that we think it's blue is because our eyes are shaped in such a way that the way the light refracts, we don't have full color vision eyes. Birds do. To birds, the world looks purple. And when you look through a special like lens or a whatever that sees all the colors, the sky is violet.
Wow.
But the violet part is actually our eyes refract that light out, so we think it's blue. So what I've just done there, Brandy, is I've just changed your paradigm of the sky, because now you know the sky ain't blue, it's actually purple. So you look outside and go, that's fucking crazy. Like my eyes are telling me it's blue, but it's really purple. Here's another great paradigm, right? When they thought the world was flat for many years.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, Christopher Columbus proved that wrong by circumnavigating the globe. And now a common belief, we know it's true, is that there are still some crazy folks out there that think the world is still flat. But we know that the Earth is a globe. That's a paradigm. So what I've done is I've shifted your paradigm from thinking that the Earth is flat to now the Earth is a globe. Sky is blue. Well, it's actually purple. So a paradigm is the way that we look at things. So when
That's
you can,
deep. Yes.
yeah, when you can change people's beliefs through shifting their paradigm, that's when they go, ah. Like, have you ever listened to somebody who has changed one of your paradigms in business or in life, like a celebrity, a politician, any kind of leader, where you've just gone, I never thought of thinking about it that way. Wow. Mm-hmm. Because when you do that, that person then goes up in your eyes as an authority, as a leader, as somebody to follow. Because why? Because as humans, we want the truth. We want to be right. Mm. So when you can shift somebody's paradigm through your content, and I'll give you a simple way to do this. Quick video script is, hang on, let me get it.
And I'm looking at the comments over here. Let me bring this in closer. Let's read some of the comments while Greg is actually locating his screen. We have David Gibson says, wow, that is cool. Gio says YouTube. Tracy says, Brandon Lucero, got it. Okay, yes. Carrie Jalbert says, I love Simon. Tracy Lee says, Bob Proctor, another one, Greg.
Got it.
Yep. And Melissa, she says, oh, Melissa from Curacao. How about that? That's really way across the pond. Okay. She says, paradigm, it's a program or group of habits in the subconscious mind that is controlling your behavior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me think.
I love this feedback. Neil Brackett says that was Magellan. That was Magellan. Nancy Park says, will this be taped? I have to go. I'm so sorry. Yes, it will be available for replay.
So I can't find it, but I'm just off the top of my head. So if I start my video by saying hard work doesn't guarantee success. Hard work doesn't guarantee success. Now, the first thing that your brain does, it goes, well, yeah, it does, because everybody else says it does. Every other leader says you got to work your balls off till your eyes bleed, and you got to work hard, hustle, right? So if hard work did guarantee success, wouldn't everybody who worked hard be successful? Well, I got to tell you, there are millions of entrepreneurs around the world hustling till their eyes are bleeding, working 18 hours a day, and they ain't making money. So how does hard work guarantee success? It doesn't. And I'm here to tell you that hard work, not only does it not guarantee success, if you continue to believe that, you could end up disillusioned, burnt out, and become a statistic of failure. And I know that's not what you want. So stick around, I'll tell you the real truth on what it takes to become successful. And then I just open the doors to whatever my thing's going to be. I could say something like, the real secret to entrepreneurial success is confidence. Because if you look around at everybody who works hard, yeah, 95% of them aren't making money. But if you look around at everybody who's successful, the common denominator they all have is confidence. So I'll give you a three-step formula for getting more confidence in your life and your business. And I can make that last part anything I want it to be. I can call it confidence. I could call it a better strategy. I could talk about, productivity and time, personal development. But the important thing is that I've changed your paradigm in 3 minutes. And so, Brandy, when you do start creating content, I want you to, I'm going to teach you how in the 3-part workshop bootcamp that we're doing over the next few weeks. Okay. So you're definitely going to be there?
Absolutely.
Good.
Are you going to wear your crown?
Just for you.
Okay. It won't be the same without it.
Okay. Damn, I've set a weird precedent now.
It's unique. That's important, right?
You're dead right. You're dead right. So yeah, brand message positioning, getting away from the how-to content. And how-to content is boring as fucking hell anyway, to be honest. Like, even, never mind, yeah. So, your story, Brandy, is super powerful. And I know you're literally just a few months really into your journey of figuring this online stuff out, but I want you to, I made a declaration. I made a declaration about a year ago, maybe a year, 10 months ago, that I would never, ever put out a piece of marketing content without a story in it or behind it. Because what I'm a copywriter, which means I create words that sell. I have some clients who paid me money to write their sales letters and do their videos and stuff like that. One of the, like, it's kind of one of the golden rules in copywriting. We know that facts tell and stories sell. But even just on Facebook alone, I started to realize that whenever I tried to preach something, that not many people paid attention. So I would create these long-winded posts, and it was amazingly well written, but it was very kind of like preaching from a just preaching from a teaching point of view. Like, hey, I want to teach you a lesson here. Whereas when I would start that same post with a story, like, let me tell you what happened to me. And of course I would, build the drama and the tension by saying, like, it was 3:00 a.m. and I heard a knock at the door and I jumped out of bed and I was terrified. I go into the story, but I would essentially deliver the same message, but just leading in with a story. And the response was like night and day, like 150 comments, engagement going crazy, people asking me for more information, versus the same post, but me trying to preach something, getting maybe like 5 comments or something. And I made a declaration at that point that I will never, ever put out a piece of marketing content without weaving a story into it. And I'm going to ask you to do the same. I'm going to challenge you to think along the same lines, because you have a wonderful story. And everybody has a wonderful story, or they can have a wonderful story, but they don't use it. Right. So I know a lot of you guys watching this and on the replay, you're probably like, I don't know what my story really is. Well, that's where you've got to dig deep, and that's where you've got to join me on the workshops over the next few weeks. Right. Brandy, you've got an obvious story, like your stroke, overcoming that. And then, your decision to go into online marketing is something that you need to use every chance you can. Okay. And we probably don't have time to really condense it right now, but I'm going to teach you how to condense that into kind of like a 30-second version, into a 1-minute version, and a 2-minute version. So tell you what you can do for me. Yeah, let's dive into your story right now and pull out some stuff that we can use. So when you had where did you have your stroke?
It was around 3 o'clock in the morning. I shot up out of sleep and the room was spinning and I just kept passing out, and I would wake up and try to crawl to my phone and I would pass out again. I just kept struggling to get to my phone.
Yeah.
Called my mom. She came to stay with the kids and called 911. They actually sent me home.
Let's get to that in a second, but one of the keys to a powerful story is like the drama is in the details. You might have heard that before. When you woke up, what was going through your mind?
Something's wrong.
Okay, tell me how so how did you feel? You were scared?
I'm scared, and I was throwing up and passing out, and I didn't know how much time had passed. You know, was I going to wake up again? It was really scary.
It sounds kind of terrifying.
It was.
Okay, so let's use the word terrifying.
Okay.
Terrifying. The word.
It's much more powerful than scared, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Terrifying. Was I going to wake up again? I bet you thought, if I don't wake up, what will happen to the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I promise you that I guarantee every mother at some point in their life has had thoughts like that. Like, oh my God, if something happened, what the fuck would happen to my kids? Like, who would look after them, right?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Flash. Was I going to wake up? Who would look after my kids? Okay. And these things will become part of your like your slightly longer story, your 1 minute or your 2 minute that you'll do on most of your content, like your videos that are maybe 5 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there'll be a 30-second version, which is more just like, you know, I had this terrible stroke and I did this and this and this, and I was able to overcome it. And then this happened next. And ultimately, this is where I ended up. That's just the 30-second version. Okay, so how long was the period? So you went into hospital. Like, how long was the period where you like you had the stroke and then you were probably you were properly diagnosed?
Well, they sent me home that day.
Mm-hmm.
They did a CAT scan, but they didn't show anything on the CAT scan. They told me I had vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to send me home. So they sent me home in a cab. And then the following day, I had a friend bring me back because I couldn't talk well. I couldn't walk without falling down. And she brought me to a different hospital. And she said, listen, you know, my friend needs something else. She needs a different kind of test. So that's when they did the MRI and they were like, we need to get you to this hospital over here. We need to get you to the neuro unit like right now. So it was about 2 weeks in the hospital before they sent me home with home care.
So there's a period of 2 weeks where you were back and forth, and then they properly diagnosed the stroke. What was the length of time of the recovery period? I know there's no definitive start and stop time, but if you could say, yeah, it was probably about, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, a year. where most of my recovery place took time, 2 years, whatever. How long would that period of time be?
I would say about a year and a half was when I
Wow.
started feeling normal,
Right.
semi-normal again. Yeah.
Cool. So it was like 18 months before some level of normality.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How have you improved as a person during this period? And I know I'm making an assumptive statement, but in almost every case where somebody goes through such a trauma like that, Mhm.
you kind of you must realize that you're stronger than you thought you were.
Mhm.
You have an endurance that you thought you didn't have. You have a resilience that you never knew you had, both emotional and physical. So tell me about some of the things that you learned about yourself through this process.
That time isn't what you think it is. I started not taking so many things for granted, wanting to not miss anything with the kids. I went through a lot of depression, and I won't talk about that, but I went and got this tattoo actually, so I could have something here on my arm that I could see every day to remind me that there was a reason for it. So that
What does your tattoo say?
it says everything happens for a reason.
Love that.
I got it done in Spanish because
But
everything's
in Spanish
it's
on
in
her.
Spanish,
yeah,
yeah.
there it is. Yeah.
Everything just sounds better in Spanish.
Everything happens for a reason. Yeah.
But I needed that reminder that there's a reason why this happened. There are better days ahead.
Yeah.
You can stand up every day and do what you have to do to move forward, because there
Yeah.
were days I couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah. So you said a couple of really important things there. That you now, I guess, you give more importance. You didn't say this, but what I'm hearing is that you now give things that you used to take for granted a lot more. You have gratitude for them. You attach more importance to them because you know that anything can happen, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, I'm getting 2 tattoos this year. One, my first one, might be this month actually, if I get time. Is going to be called. Have you heard of Memento Mori?
Mm-mm.
No. It means I think it's Latin or Roman. It means remember, death will come.
That's intense.
Yeah,
Wow.
and essentially Memento Mori, it's a Stoic. There's a philosophy that I follow called Stoicism. Ryan Holiday, who wrote The Obstacle is the Way, he's probably he's a teacher of Stoicism. But remember, death will come means that live as if every day were your last. Don't take tomorrow for granted because it's not guaranteed.
Right.
And essentially let that impact what you do, how you think, and what you say. And let that also influence the decisions that you make. Because the problem is that everybody thinks they're going to live forever.
Mhm.
We act like we're going to live forever.
So true.
I could go off on a whole
I know you can.
another conversation, but yeah, Memento Mori, so remember death will come. And my other one is Amor Fati, which in Latin means love your fate. Essentially just means no matter what happens, just love it.
It's really beautiful.
Similar to everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So you had some paradigm shifts through this experience, like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
about life, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Cool. Time is not what you think it is. Everything happens for a reason. What were some of the things that you learned, or what your case? Because I'll bet there were some dark times where you thought, I don't know if I can get through this.
I couldn't really hear you. Cut out on the question.
Okay.
Sorry.
I said, I'll bet there were some dark times where you were doubting whether you could get through it.
Yeah. Many. Yeah.
And so what did you learn?
I learned that I'm way stronger than I believed myself to be.
Okay. So what you just said there, repeat that. You're way stronger than you believed.
I could be, or I was.
You
and
know
I
that
thought that I could be.
Yeah, you know, that's with the other two, that's probably everybody else's biggest crippling self-limiting belief as to why they don't become successful, because they don't think they can. So that there alone, I think that should be a huge part of your message. It's not necessarily that you had, like, the stroke is just a fact. It's not, and I won't even call it unfortunate, because I don't believe in fortune or unfortunate. I like you said, everything happens for a reason. The stroke is a fact, but the person you've become because of that event is the inspiration that you can lead with, that can become your message, that will resonate with so many people.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
And so there's the two big things that I want to pull out of this. I know we probably should be going to an hour and a half, and it's way past my bedtime, but the two big things that I want to pull out of this, that I want you to think about, like, okay, when it comes to creating content, and we'll look at packaging this, is number one, that if you can overcome your learning disabilities, challenge disabilities, whatever you want to call them, anyone can. Because again, there's like, Ace, like, how many people just, how many times do you hear, oh, I'm no good at learning?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
And it's such a stupid self-limiting belief.
It is.
Because Brandy, you've proved that if you have to learn and it just takes a bit more time and a bit more focus, then you'll do it, right? So number one, that your mantra should be, heck, if I can get over my stroke with my fucking brain injury, and if I can learn how to learn again, then you can. And number two, that I learned that I'm 10 times stronger than I ever thought I could be. And all I had to do was believe in myself. Then you got to do the same too. So those two mantras should be like the pillars of your message. And we'll get into more about, I've just frozen there. Did I freeze?
Yeah.
All right. Let's say those two mantras will become the pillar of your marketing. And over the next few weeks, we'll get into more about your specific target market, your avatar. Like, I think obviously moms with kids is going to be a very strong resonance for you. Because like I said, you can't serve, you should never try to serve everybody. You really want to zone in on, like, this is my target market, this is my group of people.
Yes.
And I think that's perfect. So irrespective of their profession or whatever, the people that I see you serving will be people who have a strong reason why. like, because to be honest, if somebody hasn't got a strong reason why, they shouldn't be doing this anyway. But they got to have a strong reason. They got to have a strong well, they just wouldn't be successful. But they got to have a strong reason why. So moms being at home for their kids to be able to be a major kind of influence in their life. There's a huge reason that was yours. I know for gazillions of moms worldwide, that's the same. And then as well as that, the two pillars, like the cornerstone of your message is, if I can overcome my brain injury and relearn how to learn, then you can learn. And number two, you're 100 times stronger than you ever thought you were. And I've already proved that. So that will resonate really strongly.
Part of your brand. That's your message.
And that's the kind of the cornerstone of your brand.
There you go.
Just like that.
Just like
There
that.
you go.
And
How
all
does that
with the
sound?
gentleman with the tiara.
Yeah, all done by with the tiara.
Any questions on that, Brandy?
No, that's actually really simple, pretty clear.
Cool. Do you like it?
I do.
Great.
And you. I like you too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're easy to coach. It's been super easy. Any thoughts, Ace?
I think this was fantastic that you were able to take, obviously one of our clients that we've been working with for some time and help them get centered on their story, get them centered on like how to put the pieces together from experience into the copywriting aspect of it so that it attracts the right type of target market. I also like the fact that, seeing her transformation from being like clueless to now she has certainty of, I know what I'm going to say now. I know what I'm going to wrap my brand around. And I love it. So that's another thing is you broke it down to a point where she loves it. She loves what you created for her right here on the spot, versus like, no, I'm not too sure about that. She was like, I love this. This is something I own up to. I experienced it and I can help a lot of people also with. So thank you, Gregg, for that.
Yeah. To have clarity on it is really awesome. And to know that I would be able to help other people is super important to me too. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the other, I'm glad you touched upon that, because having there are two whys you need. There's an internal why, which is you being there for your kids. And what was your other one? I missed it. Freedom, right? So freedom to have control over your life. That's your internal why, but your external why has to be bigger than you, bigger than yourself. So the fact that like you can tap into helping other people who are going through similar challenges, like with their mindset, with their circumstances, having a why that's bigger than yourself. It's not that actually one's more important than the other, but you definitely need both. So that's great.
And I also sense a breakthrough because she is getting emotional. She's teary-eyed.
trying not to.
She's trying not to cry. But those are great cheers of joy, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, this has been amazing. I can't thank you enough, Gregg.
No, you're welcome. And the crying thing is cool. It's not a weakness.
No, it's not.
I'm crying because you took your tiara off.
It's like Ace was crying before when she saw that outfit.
Oh my gosh.
I'll wear the tiara for next time. It was itching my head a wee bit. All right, great. That was great, Ace. I really enjoyed that, and thank you so much, Brandy. Like I say, you were you're very easy to talk to.
Thank you.
And it was good to coach you.
It is. And one of the experiences about, investing into mentorship that I have learned is you have to be really transparent. You have to be like honest with yourself. And what you did coming out vulnerable like that and just letting out, the truth about your experience with, your medical condition. A lot of people are shy. They don't want to do, they feel like it is like a weakness. Like they don't want to talk about that part of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Mhm.
You
And
know.
the other thing that I missed, and I want to point out, you kind of shied away from. You said, "Oh, I don't want to talk about the depression." That is, I went through a period of being like chronically depressed after my divorce for a long time, 2-3 years. I'm not emotional in so much that I'll cry about things, but happily talk about it because, again, it's something a lot of people go through. So it's good to allude to parts of that if you can in your marketing. Because, like I said, almost everybody goes through some level of depression.
Absolutely.
Every being vulnerable and sharing sharing the darkest parts of your life is actually far more powerful than like me talking about, making whatever $1 million. Now that's great. It gives me credibility, but unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but if that's all I do, people are sitting there going, yeah, that's good for you, mate, but what about the little guy here? But it's when I can talk about the fact that I was 70,000 in debt, and after making all the money, I not lost it, but I spent it. I wasn't wise with it. I went through a divorce. I lost my place in the Cayman Islands, had to come back and live with mom. I went through like suicidal depression for
Yeah.
2-3 years. Lost pretty much everything, had no money, had just absolute despair and no hope for, like, I gave up hope on life. I just didn't care anymore. That's a horrible place to be.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about it because it was a time where I felt really disgusted with myself because I couldn't be the mother that I needed to be. It put me in a place where I was jeopardizing my relationship with my kids, and that's kind of where I started seeing those trends where I needed to step back and address the depression because I wasn't there for my kids the way I needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's
and you should,
hard to admit.
Right.
yeah, and you should, but I know you said it's hard to admit it, but the reality is it's part of humanity. Like, we're not, as humans, we're fragile in that sense that, like, depression is a mental illness. It's a disease. It's not something you have control over. And once it starts spiraling out of control, I used to think that depression was something weak-minded people had.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the reality is it is a disease.
Right.
What you just said, Brandy, is, you weren't a fit mother for your kids. Again, almost every mother goes through that at some point in their lives. So if I'm watching you on a webinar, and I'm sure you're not going to talk about that for the whole of the webinar, but you talk about that for maybe 1 minute about that part of your journey, I feel like I know you. I feel like I can trust in you, right? I feel like you're authentic and you're real.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, that creates such a strong rapport
True.
that I buy into that. I buy into you a lot more than the gal I just heard who's like a 8-figure earner and life's all great with the Ferraris and the yada yada. I don't care about her. I feel like I want you to show me how you got through that so I can do the same. And that's why I'll buy from you and not them. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Does that make sense to you guys all watching here on the hot seat? Put
I
a
know
yes
it
in the
does.
chat. Look at this. They're like, this is an eye opener, Greg. I see comments coming in. They say no one can replicate your story. That is a comment coming in as well.
That's cool.
Listen at this here. Tracy Lee says, oh, most definitely. Carrie says, yes. Eye opener. Yes. David Gibson. Oh, yes. Very powerful. Yes. Tracy Lee. Warner, all the way from Thailand, says 100% yes. Amazing. Geo says amazing. Lupe says yes. Kevin Coe says 100%. Awesome. Greg, I know it's late over there in the UK. Do you have time to answer questions from the audience? Maybe we can get 1 or 2 questions before you go.
Yeah, what's the time? I'll
You have time for some questions?
of course. Let's go 10 minutes for questions. I'm
10 minutes
gonna
for questions. All
close out
right.
at quarter 10
Start 'em up.
at 45 past.
Then you can tuck yourself in bed after this, right?
I'm gonna get another glass of wine, I'm telling you.
Awesome. You guys are here live on the hot seat. Thank you. And wow, look at the attendance, Brandy.
I know.
This is incredible. We have a really big full house here, more than what we usually have. So this is great. You guys are awesome. Send us your questions here for our guest trainer today on the hot seat, Gregg Davison. Go ahead and ask your questions. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. What do you want to know? Go ahead and post it right there. Yes, he is leaving 10 minutes for questions. So let's count. Let's go ahead. Ask those questions.
Priscilla, if I didn't do mindset, I would have stopped and walked away, I think is
Mhm.
what she's trying to say. And
So
that's
actually,
what prevented me from walking away.
Yeah.
so Keith is saying I was burning out on YouTube videos, thinking I had to do how-to and tutorial videos. Now I need to be more engaging. For any of you guys who are like newer and trying to make your mark, get off YouTube and focus on Facebook, because like YouTube is a very specific audience that people go onto YouTube when they're looking to solve a problem. So if you're trying to build a following on YouTube, I would say your time is better spent on Facebook, and don't try and do them both at the same time. Master Facebook first, then once you've got your audience on there, transfer your stuff across to YouTube. So I think it was Neil, that's my big piece of advice
Keith,
there.
yeah, Keith Neal Strangely.
Keith Neil, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kevin's saying a bit more on the workshop. Yeah, so times, guys, will be, I'll put some stuff in Ace and Rich's group Friday tomorrow. And I am starting a Facebook group as well for you guys to join, but the same content will be in both. And it's going to be Saturday, starting next Saturday, which is the 11th. So Ace, I'm not doing your list building mastery one tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll make those changes.
Yeah. So I've got to structure the content better. So
Okay.
yeah, first one next Saturday, the 11th, then one on the 18th and one on the 25th. And to be confirmed, but I'm thinking time will be 12 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Tracy wants to
can
put
work
on my
that in.
tiara. Tracy, get one of these at like the fancy dress or the costume place for like $1, I'm sure. I got it for my birthday off my sister.
There's a question from Henry Vigent.
Mm-hmm.
Good friend of mine I know for a long, long time. Right now, I believe he's in Puerto Rico and he's visiting. He has a question there, and his question is, how do you recruit for a newbie? Laugh out loud.
How do you recruit for a newbie? I would need you to be more specific.
Yeah.
Like, is
Henry.
I don't know, your business model.
He was just joking.
Oh, he's joking. He's joking. He's
All right,
kidding. Okay, Henry. Okay. All right, let me see here. Brandy, you see some questions
I think I saw somebody a little bit further up.
up here? A little bit.
How long do you make your story, David Gibson?
David Gibson, how long do you make your story?
Good question, David. You should really have 3 lengths or versions of your story.
Good point.
One should be 30 seconds. It's what we always call an elevator pitch. Like if you were stuck in an elevator
yeah.
and it was like 30 seconds until that person got out and you had to tell your story. And then one for about anywhere between 1 and 2 minutes, and then a 5-minute story. There's even like a 10-minute, but for the most part, just think of like a quick, and then let's call it a 2-minute, and then a 5-minute story.
Awesome.
And we'll show you, I'll give you scripts and bullet points and how to do those stories in the workshops.
Susie Collins says, when will we be able to get more information on the workshop?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. All right. Awesome. Let's see here. Anybody else?
Gwen Torrigano says, I don't have a story, or maybe too many. Everybody has a story. You just don't know how to tell it.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely true. Everybody has a story.
And I know that your life might sound mundane or boring when you've heard of like Brandy with her journey, and then me with my journey, and then you think, oh, my life hasn't been that dramatic. I promise you, unless you've been stuck in the house doing nothing or living under a rock, then there's
Right.
some exciting drama we can pull out of your story. I've never come across anybody that I've ever coached that didn't have a really good story.
Yeah, David Gibson got a great story. I can't wait for you to meet him. He's one of our list building mastery.
Well, any questions or any problems, guys? Any challenges that you're having when it comes to messaging or with your brand, putting content out there?
Molly says interested in Gregg's workshop too.
Yeah, there'll be details. Like I said, next three Saturdays, free of charge, and the details will be in the Internet Marketing Pros group tomorrow.
Yes. Any other questions, guys? Let us know.
All right.
Randy, you have any questions for him? Anything at all?
No, I'm just really looking forward to the workshops.
Even if it's off,
yeah.
even if it's off topic,
Even as
or-
off topic, anything.
because you got probably 2 minutes, guys, and I'm out of here.
Yeah. Warner, there are more drama stories in our lives than we like to.
Yeah, Verna, you could produce a movie with your stories, mate.
Kevin Coe says, I think it's all going to come out at the workshop.
Oh,
Tracy's got a good question. So Tracy says, my Facebook skills have gotten way better in bringing people in. How do I keep the momentum going?
Woo! Good question.
You just do that, Tracy. You just keep the momentum going.
You answered your own question.
that's not what
You
he
did.
wanted to.
The answer to you, so it's first of all, well done, Tracy, in building momentum that's getting you attention and engagement and building your tribe. Keep learning, like learn more about copywriting, right? How to write better headlines for your posts and your videos.
Yeah.
Persuasion and influence. Like, have you read a book called Influence, Tracy, by Robert Cialdini? I think I recommended that to you when we were doing some coaching way back. There's a book called Influence, which is kind of one of the, I would say, the must-have marketing books.
Yes.
Influence, persuasion, copywriting, and then you've got, Facebook strategies, and there are millions of courses out there on how to get better at Facebook. But more than anything, Tracy, I would say try to get a handle on the basics of copywriting. That's probably the one thing that will give you, like when it comes to messaging, that will give you the biggest quantum leap in getting more attention, getting more engagement.
I have a question for you, Gregg. I get hit a lot with a lot of brand new marketers who tend to be all over the place, because of the social media. It's for them, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So they want to know like how to, like, what should they work on first? And then what should they work on the least, right? What is your advice
it's a great
on
question. Let me share something with you real quick. I actually had a kind of a coaching call with somebody on this very subject. So, can you see that?
You have to share your screen.
Yeah. Can you see is the writing legible? Can you understand that and read that?
You're not sharing your screen. You have to click share.
Oh, sorry. Stupid.
Okay. There you go. All right. Yeah, we can see it legible. Yeah.
All right. 10 rules for success in affiliate marketing. So these are 10 things that need to be mastered, and they're actually not necessarily in the right order.
Okay.
Like if I'm coaching a newbie, the first thing that I say is, all right, the first thing you want to do is just 30 minutes a day on daily personal development. I always get new people reading Think and Grow Rich. I say read Think and Grow Rich 1 chapter a day, because it takes about 30 minutes to read it.
Right.
I find, especially with newer people, if you try and do any more than that, it's counterproductive, because you can't learn more than 1 new principle a day.
Repeat that one more time. You can't learn.
You can't learn more than 1 new principle a day.
Ooh, I like that.
And I've been doing this myself. I went back to reading Think and Grow Rich, and so I can, here's how I can prove that I learned it. I can tell you that chapter 1 is thoughts are things. I'm looking at the wrong camera here. So chapter 1 is thoughts are things. And Henry Ford said the greatest key to success is whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Right.
Okay.
I've heard that one. Yes.
It's a good one.
And there's a great lesson in there about a girl who, a black girl who says, my mama's got to have that 50 cents. And she refuses to be, so the story goes, there's a guy working in the barn and he sees this black girl working there and she screams, my mama's got to have 50 cents. And he says, go away, girl, or I'll take a switchblade to you. And the girl screams, my mama says I got to have 50 cents. And so the guy comes towards the girl with a switchblade and she steps forward, this 5-year-old black girl, and goes, my mama's got to have that 50 cents. And in that moment, the guy dropped his switchblade, reached into his pocket and gave the girl 50 cents. And she walked away. And that was because she was resolute in her commitment to the outcome. And even the guy who was going to take her life didn't scare her, because she probably thought in the back of her head, my mama's more scary than this guy. So my mama's got to have that 50 cents.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, here's the point on personal development.
Yes.
Chapter 1 is thoughts are things. Chapter 2 is desire.
Desire.
And it's essentially the story of how Napoleon Hill had the burning desire to go work with Andrew Carnegie, who commissioned the book. And so I could tell you all about desire. But it was actually, this came from a challenge that I was having. I have too much fucking books to read. I was like, oh, do I read this book or that book? Or I should catch up. And I was torn between reading 5 different books, and I went, whoa. And I read something by Rhonda Swan. She said that if I had to do everything again, start everything again, the first thing I'd do was I'd read a chapter of Think and Grow Rich every day for the first 30 days. I went, that's great. I'm going to do that. So daily personal development, 1 chapter a day of Think and Grow Rich. The next thing you got to do is daily professional development, marketing study.
Ah, yes. I learned this from you.
Of course you did.
Yes.
And again, like 30 minutes a day or maybe an hour. But what I want you to do next is I want you to read Influence, or I want you to read Copywriting Secrets. And I just want you to start learning concepts here, because if you go out and try and like follow all these social media strategies about what to post, how to create content, write emails, you're going to be overwhelmed and confused to hell unless you learn concepts, because when you learn concepts that can apply to everything.
Yes.
That's the difference between what I call an amateur marketer and a professional marketer.
Yes.
Right? So personal development, professional development, everybody I coach, those are the first 2 things I address. And interestingly, it used to be copywriting, but if I was to coach a new person now, I would say, right, let's start with your story. So understanding how to get attention with your message.
Yes.
Let's
Mhm.
make sure you've got a story. Let's make sure you know what your brand is, what your values are. Who do you want to serve? Who's your avatar,
Right.
right? Who's your target market?
Yes.
Because all these other things like building a tribe and social media marketing and email marketing, if you don't know what your message and your brand are about, then none of this other stuff works.
Exactly. So true.
So here's what I'll do as well, Ace, and for everybody else watching, I'll put these in order of importance and I'll stick them in the group in Internet Marketing Pros. I'll create a post. How about that?
Sounds awesome. Yes, that would be great.
All right, sweet.
Thank you. So if you
All
guys are
right.
not part of Internet Marketing Pros, it's just a free group. You can go ahead and put in your request and I'll go accept you and you can have access to this document
Mhm.
where Greg is going to put it all in the right order. And that way you don't have any confusion anymore. You know what you're going to do. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
consider it like your roadmap to success in
There we
affiliate marketing.
go. Yeah. I
Yeah,
like
it
it.
stops you from running in a circle.
It does.
It
Remember
does.
me and you had that conversation in the car. We were talking about like, I'm reading all these different books.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what book I'm going to be reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's just
you
put it
you
out there.
overwhelm yourself.
You do.
Yeah.
Yes. Too many books
All right,
to
then.
read.
I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin in about 3 minutes. So let's say our goodbyes.
Okay, Greg, it is awesome to have you here. Thank you so much for being on the hot seat. Lots of value, so much information, and thank you for coaching Brandy.
Yes, I am very grateful. Thank you again, Greg. Oh, yes. That makes the evening complete.
Awesome.
It's been a
Greg.
pleasure, guys.
Thank you so much.
Really
And
has.
tune in next week, guys. You want to end up with more information about that boot camp workshop that he is doing for branding and positioning. You definitely don't want to miss that. Send me a message. I'll get you the details when Greg gets them to be, okay? And you can come to that free workshop. Thank you, Greg.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Have a good
Bye-bye.
one. Bye-bye. All right. So let me disconnect here. Watch this. Okay. So guys, I didn't want to just leave just like that. I wanted to find out from you guys if you enjoyed that type of guest and you like to see more guests like that on the hot seat. Let us know, because judging from your feedback, we can actually make opportunities like that happen where we can connect with other leaders. We can also have you have, interactions with our students, and they can share their personal experience with you about how it's going for them. And they can also help you in your getting started journey as well, because a lot of our students that we train, they're going to be the future leaders of the industry. And it's going to be a good run for you guys when you actually can come onto the hot seat, get a good warm up, and get acquainted with the audience that we target, so that you could actually learn how to communicate.
Agreed.
But that was great, wasn't it?
It was amazing. It's so much that I've gained in this one, what was it, an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Maybe two. We got a little crazy with the tiara, but I mean, so much valuable information, and it was so simple. Everything that has been running through my mind that I'm worried about, how do I do this? How do I do that? I mean, the man, put on a tiara and
That's all.
solved your problems.
Yes.
You don't understand it until somebody helps you understand it. And it's leaders like him, like Ace and Rich, that put everything into perspective for you and
Yes.
can really, make this journey so much better. I most of the time I don't even have words, because I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
It's been incredible for me. And then I get emotional, because I never pictured myself this far, and to have this many doors open. So I'm very grateful and blessed.
Absolutely. And, you guys, you just learned some valuable principles of success from a 7-figure earner, and you'll notice something about Greg that I love about him and his character is that the authenticity. Again, I go back to that,
Mhm.
whereas other leaders, like he said, they talk about the money, they talk about the fame, they talk about, the success results, but they don't really become themselves.
Right.
And they don't really like share that part of that vulnerability and that story, like how he shared he was $70,000 in debt and, he spent all the money. I mean, he was honest. He's like, yeah, I spent it all, and I had to go live with my mom.
And it's
Yeah.
very humbling to see somebody who is successful
Mhm.
to then say, hey, this wasn't me. This is
Right.
how I got here. These are the struggles that I went through.
Right.
Being real is, it's priceless. And he's a wonderful guy. He's fun,
He's a
I-
great coach.
I don't see how you couldn't have a good time with him.
Yes, he's the real deal. He's
Yeah.
the real deal when it comes to coaching. And there's a lot of people out there that coin the phrase, I'm a coach, but really you're just, a dressed up sales consultant. And I have to be straight up with you like that. Like for me and Rich, we're taking the journey to become certified coaches now. We work with people like Gregg Davison, Jeffrey Combs, and we work with Maria Andros. We work with people like that who have that kind of credibility, and they actually are able to certify us. And so if anybody ever comes to you and says, I'll coach you for this XYZ amount of money, make sure that they actually live up to that and they have the background and experience, and the results that you want and the credibility, because there are a lot of people that are wolves in sheep's clothing.
Agreed. And you need to have that initial interview with them. You need to know that they're a good fit for you, for your personality, for what you're
Yes.
looking for,
Mhm.
because there are people that might be able to coach you, but if their heart isn't into it and you don't have that connection with them, you're not going to get the best out of it.
Really, really not. And I want you guys to tune in for next week, next Friday. We're going to have a great hot seat, another great hot seat, and it will be at the regular scheduled time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't worry. This was just a one-time thing to accommodate our guest who's in the United Kingdom, but we have lots and lots of people we want to bring and give the opportunity for them to come to here to the hot seat to help you guys overcome challenges, overcome obstacles that you deal with in your mindset, and help you build your business to success, whatever that is that you are marketing. It really doesn't matter if you're an affiliate marketer or a network marketer, or even just own a brick and mortar store, right? The point is, if you're using the internet to build your brand presence and to find that messaging that's going to reach a specific target market so you can get the best, customer for life, then this is the skill set that you need to learn. Definitely. So
Agreed.
with that being said, I'm Ace Guzman and I have Brandy. Brandy, thank you so much for being here. As
Always a pleasure.
This is awesome. And I'm going to go and finish coaching her for the rest of the evening, and we're going to have some dinner together. And you guys have a great weekend. Love you guys. Did you just say Tucker?
I said Tucker.
They are not endorsing the show. They might, because we eat there a lot.
Yeah, they might start.
All right, you guys have a great one, and we'll see you guys next time.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.